Not letting me record. Welcome in to Imagi Fantasy Football. Uh, my name is Nav. Hi.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shri.
Hi everybody, I'm Dant.
I'm Origin.
And I'm Rohan.
So today for our first video, we're going to be doing a 12-team PPR mock draft. You're going to have standard rosters, one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, a tight end, one flex, a kicker, and a defense with 7 bench spots. Without further ado, Srijit is going to have the first overall pick, and he is on the clock.
All right, thank you, Nab. So with the first overall pick here, it's kind of a consensus number one overall. Going to go with Christian McCaffrey. He got injured a bit last year, but he's just too talented and the offense is too oriented towards him to pass up on this. Should be going number one overall in every draft there is.
Nice. After McCaffrey goes, we see Alvin Kamara go off at 102.
All right,
Down
at number
from the clock.
3 here, I'm going to take Derrick Henry. He has 2 straight years of 300 rushing attempts, and I think it's just going to continue this year too. The addition of Julio Jones is going to get defenders out of the box more, so he's going to break off more big runs.
Okay. At the 104, we see Nick Chubb go, and then Dalvin Cook falls to the 105.
All right, here. So I'm gonna go with Saquon Barkley. I consider there to be an elite tier of 5 running backs, being McCaffrey, Kamara, Henry, Cook, and then Barkley. So I'm surprised the computer took Chubb over Barkley. So I'd rather Barkley easily over Taylor or Elliott. Barkley, he might be limited to start the year, but I think taking him now is going to be worth the investment in the long run.
Do you not think Zeke is in that top tier of running backs?
After what we saw last year, and Tony Pollard taking a lot of snaps from him last year, everyone thinks that Zeke this year with the return of Dak and the offensive line is going to be like back to his just surefire top 5 running back ways, which I think he'll be most likely an RB1, but I don't know if he's going to be maybe a mid-end RB1 or even a back-end RB1, because last year we saw he just was not very productive. And I know a lot of that's because of the offensive line, but along with that, Tony Pollard at the end of the year started taking like 40% of the snaps, and it was more of a, rather than the 80-20 share we saw at the start of the year for Zeke, it was 60-40 share.
Yep.
And if that continues into next year, then I don't see how he could be a top 5 running back.
Yep. After Saquon goes, we see Tyreek Hill and Jonathan Taylor go off the board.
All right, guys. So with the 9th pick, I'm down to a choice between Zeke, and then really we get into looks like the receivers and tight ends, like with Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce. So I'm definitely going to take Zeke here because it's definitely important for to secure a running back while you can. And compared to the other guys, Zeke definitely seems like a tier above.
Yep. So after Zeke goes, we see Devontae Adams go, and then DK Metcalf at the end of the first round. So I'm at the turn here with the 112. And I usually love going 2 running backs early to really build the foundation of a team. Any championship team has 2 running backs that usually lead the way. So for me, I see Aaron Jones on the board, Austin Eckler, Joe Mixon, Cam Akers. So a lot of options here. Also on the board, we see Travis Kelce and then Stephon Diggs. But like I said, I think I'm going to go with 2 running backs. My first option, I think I'm going to go with Austin Eckler. This is a full PPR league. And Eckler is going to catch so many passes, especially in that offense with Justin Herbert leading the way. Eckler was phenomenal when he was healthy last year. I think if he can stay healthy this year, he's just going to be an elite, like probably like a top 7, top 8 type of running back. So I feel like he can lead the team for me. For my second running back, I think I'm going to go with Joe Mixon. I know last year he did get a little banged up, but when he was there, he put up a bunch. He got so many touches, and then with Joe Burrow there, they added more weapons. I think Joe Mixon, he's just on his way to have a breakout season this year. He might lead the league in rushing this year. Who knows? Joe Mixon, he has such high upside this year, so I like him.
All right, Nav, I got a question for you there. I'm just wondering why you took Joe Mixon over Aaron Jones. Is there one you prefer more? Is there a reason you didn't take Aaron Jones there?
Yeah, it's just the uncertainty with Aaron Rodgers there. Like, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be there, and if Aaron Rodgers isn't there for the Packers, is Aaron Jones even going to be like a top 15 type of running back? I don't know, because the Packers aren't going to be that much of a high-scoring team. So I decided to just go with a little safer option than Joe Mixon. After Joe Mixon, we saw Travis Kelce go off the board and Aaron Jones, putting Rohan on the clock.
With my second pick, I also, like Nav said, I think 2 running backs is crucial to a championship team because A, running backs, they'll get you the most, like probably the bulk of your points usually, and B, because you see so many running back injuries, so it's really important to have depth. So you should try to get as many as you can as early as possible. So looking at the running backs, you see Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins available, Najee Harris. I'm definitely going to take Akers here because he's poised to have a huge workload, especially with the openings in the Rams backfield, as well as just that great line they have.
All right, good pick. After Cam Akers, we see DeAndre Hopkins and Justin Jefferson go, putting Arjun on the clock.
All right, so for me here, just looking at the remaining running backs, this is an easy choice. Antonio Gibson. What he was doing last season before he did get injured at, I believe, week 13 or week 14. Just what he was doing last season was absolutely insane and very unexpected. He was scoring like 15 to 20 fantasy points a game. He gave you that one. If you started him on Thanksgiving, gave you nearly 40 points. Now coming into this year, he's got an improved offense. He's got a new quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I don't think he'll be nearly limited as much this year as he was by the presence of J.D. McKissick last year, because already his coaches have started to say that he looks much better and that they really want to give him a lot more work. And Ron Rivera has referred to him as the next Christian McCaffrey. So he definitely stands out to me over any of the other running backs here. I think he's going to have an absolutely phenomenal year. Could finish you as a top 5 running back.
And Arjun, I have a question for you.
You can go ahead.
So Arjun, do you have any concerns about Gibson's turf toe? I know that limited him last year. How do you think that's going to affect him this year?
Well, I know turf toe is a very tough injury to recover from, but I think Gibson's had more than enough time to recover from it. He himself has said that he's feeling much better. I don't think he also said he wasn't 100% yet, but I think by the time training camp in week 1 rolls around, he'll definitely be good to go. And if that's the case, then it's full steam ahead for him. I think he's absolutely going to be a top 10 running back, and he's got top 5 upside.
Cool.
After Antonio Gibson, we see Stephon Diggs go, and also J.K. Dobbins, putting Dant on the clock.
All right, so I'm considering between Najee Harris and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I'm going to go take Najee Harris. Even though their offensive line has been absolutely decimated, I think as Ben Roethlisberger gets older and older, they're going to go to a more run-heavy offense like they used to be. And, he's just poised for a huge role. I think he can overcome the offensive line and be a top 10, maybe even top 5 running back with his receiving upside as well.
After Najee Harris, we see Calvin Ridley go, putting Shree on the clock for the end of the second round.
Yeah, and I particularly don't really like this pick a lot. You see Patrick Mahomes, A.J. Brown, George Kittle, DeAndre Swift, Michael Thomas. Those guys are number top on the board. Patrick Mahomes, not really liking him. Like to take a quarterback late in the round. A.J. Brown, again, I don't really like him that much with the addition of Julio Jones. George Kittle here would be a great pick, but I'm not. But like all these guys said, having 2 running backs is crucial. So going Big Dant said back there, he picked Najee over CEH, and I'm going to take CEH at this pick.
I just want to chime in and say something. As you can see with all of the user-chosen teams, we all decided to go 2 running backs early. So that is something that is basically unanimous here at Imagi. Every one of us believes that taking 2 running backs early is key in order to win a championship. So if you want to win a championship this year, picking 2 running backs with your first 2 picks is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, and just to add on to what he's saying, I completely agree. All of us do think that 2 running backs, 2 not elite, but 2 of the top running backs should be one of the things you prioritize for your team. But if you're sitting there and you're looking at the running backs and somehow every running back's been taken in your league and the next best running back available is someone who you don't really trust, maybe Josh Jacobs, Chris Carson, then I wouldn't necessarily force and take a running back with your second pick. Then I would maybe go to a wide receiver tight end instead. So definitely do make it a priority, but don't make it something that you go out of your way to do and then hurt your team.
Yep, don't force yourself to pick 2 running backs, but definitely try to do it. All right, Shree is going to start at the 3rd round now.
Yeah, so again, I don't really like this pick a lot. I can pick DeAndre Swift, go running back heavy. I'm not feeling it. Josh Jacobs is not Again, not feeling it a lot. Miles Sanders, not either because of Jalen Hurts' new rushing role in that offense. Could go pick a tight end here, George Kittle, Darren Waller, but looking ahead, my next pick is going to be 4.12, and I don't want to have, Adam Thielen and Cooper Kupp as my two as a possible wide receiver one for my team. So now looking at the wide receivers, I see either A.J. Brown, Michael Thomas, or Keenan Allen. Michael Thomas absolutely screwed me over last season, sat out, so there's no way I'm picking him, especially in the new offense with either Taysom Hill looking like Jameis Winston at quarterback. So I'm going to actually go ahead and reach here, going for Keenan Allen at 33.
I don't really think Keenan Allen is much of a reach. When Justin Herbert was at the helm last year, Keenan Allen, when Justin Herbert was his quarterback and he was healthy, which isn't like something that's too unreasonable, Keenan Allen was on pace for over 180 targets, over 120 receptions, about 1,200 yards, and double-digit touchdowns. So I don't think at the 3-1 Keenan Allen is a reach. I think that's actually a great pick. After
Yeah, I
Keenan
agree
Allen,
with that.
Yep. After Keenan Allen, we see George Kittle go off the board.
All right, I'm going to take A.J. Brown here. I mean, this guy, he was told early in the season that he had to sit out the rest of the season. He basically played with no knees and had 11 touchdowns and 70 receptions. So I'm not really scared of this Julio Jones addition. I think Julio and A.J. can both be great because they're basically the only two receivers in that offense. And a guy, if he plays with no knees and has 11 touchdowns, just imagine what he can do with both his knees healthy.
And Dant, seeing that pick, I have a question. So what do you think separates AJ Brown from Julio Jones? Because I know, as you said, like AJ Brown, the guy had no knees and still had 11 touchdowns, but like, why do you think so you see how clearly, so you took AJ Brown over Julio Jones. So why do you think AJ Brown would have a more productive season than Julio Jones?
Well, Julio Jones, he was injured last year and he had kind of an off season. And AJ Brown, even with the injury, still produced like a wide receiver one. And AJ Brown's been in the offense longer. Even though it's a new offensive coordinator, I think he's just he has the chemistry with Ryan Tannehill. So I think he's gonna have a better season than Julio, but Julio's not gonna be horrible.
Yep, I agree.
After AJ Brown, we see DeAndre Swift off the board, and then Patrick Mahomes going off in the middle of the third round.
Okay, so for me here, this is a very easy pick. I was compelled to take Darren Waller, but looking at the wide receivers, Michael Thomas, he seems like a very easy, obvious pick for me here. He's kind of being underrated a lot, I feel like, this year, just because of what happened to him last year. But we forget that he was injured for the majority of last year, and just 2 seasons ago, he finished as the overall wide receiver one and was playing out of his mind. And now this year, we know Breeze is gone, so he'll probably take a step back from that. But if Winston steps in there the way I think he will, we know he loves to sling it. 2 years ago, Winston threw for over 5,000 yards, so this is an easy choice for me over just the other receivers on the board.
And after Michael Thomas, we see Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs go off in the third round, which is a bit of a reach if you ask me, but that's all I've got to say.
So with my third pick, after already having 2 running backs, probably going to look for wide receiver here. But clearly, the best receivers are, it looks like Allen Robinson, Julio Jones, Terry McLaurin. And as you can see, Hopkins is off the board, Jefferson, Diggs. So then that means I might look at the tight ends here. But seeing that the best tight ends or the best 2 tight ends in Kittle and Kelsey are gone as well, probably go back to receiver now. And here I think I'm going to take Julio Jones just because even though he's in a new offense, I really feel like last year although he was hurt, it was really if you look back at how he was doing in the previous years with injuries, that was really last year was really his only year where he missed multiple games due to injury. He was really durable before that. So I think he can easily overcome last year's injuries and have another productive year.
Damn. I want to pick Darren Waller right there. Got sniped by Team 10. Looking at the board, we see Terry McLaurin on the board, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, who's hurt right now, actually, and Chris Godwin. For running backs, Chris Carson is there, David Montgomery, and those 2 are really the only guys. After that, we don't really see much. Travis Etienne, Kareem Hunt, James Robinson. I don't really mess with that tier of running backs. So And also at tight ends, Kyle Pitts is the only guy available, and I'm not going to pick him with a third or fourth round pick. So I'm going to start at wide receiver. And Terry McLaurin, I think he separated himself from the pack with Ryan Fitzpatrick there. Fitzpatrick has had a tendency to force the ball to his best option. And in the Washington offense, it's obviously Terry McLaurin. There's him and Antonio Gibson are basically the only two relevant guys in that offense. They did sign Curtis Samuel during the offseason, but, Terry McLaurin is so easily the number one there. And if he can get his touchdowns up this year, I think he can be an absolute superstar. I consider him a low-end wide receiver one right now, with definitely potential to be like a top 5 wide receiver. So I'm picking with one of my picks right here, the turn. Then looking at running backs, I see Chris Carson and David Montgomery. And I think I'm actually going to pick Chris Carson here. I'm not really that worried about Rashad Penny because he's always hurt. And even when he's been healthy, he hasn't been the most effective running back. Chris Carson, he's been a workhorse for Seattle while he's been a starter. And they are going to be a more run-heavy team this year. So I think Chris Carson is going to be a good pick, round out my team, start off with 3 running backs. And after this, I don't think I even need to pick a running back for the next 4 or 5 rounds. I can just hammer out wide receivers. So yeah, I'm going to pick Chris Carson here.
Nav, I've just got a question for you. Just Chris Carson's durability worry you at all? Because I can't remember the last time this guy played a full 16-game season.
Yeah. I completely understand that, but Chris Carson, when he has been healthy, he's been phenomenal. So I think that kind of offsets what happens when he's going to be unhealthy. And when he has been unhealthy, he hasn't missed all that many games. Last year, he missed a bunch of games, but and when he didn't even miss that, he didn't miss that many games actually. But I have a lot of faith in the Seahawks offense, and they fired their offensive coordinator just so they could run the ball more. So I just have so much more faith in Chris Carson as a talent, and I don't have as much concern about the injuries because that's not really something you can predict.
Yeah,
true.
I definitely agree with that because I feel like people forget when Carson's healthy, he often plays great. He has great stats. He can catch the ball from the backfield. He can rush for touchdowns. He's a huge power back. So I definitely think bearing injury, he's gonna have a great year.
Yep. After Chris Carson, we see Mike Evans and Josh Allen, our second quarterback, go off the board.
So in the 4th round now, like Nav, he took 3 running backs. I'm looking to take another running back as well because, like I said earlier, just running backs are so important with how many injuries that happen, as well as how many points they can put up for your team. So here I'm looking at David Montgomery as the easy pick for me because I feel like David Montgomery's a little slept on. Playing with a terrible O-line last year, he still had not pretty good. He had a great season last year. He was a top 10 running back, and just with another year of coaches fixing things, putting other pieces in, building more chemistry, I think he's gonna have another good year. So I'm gonna take David Montgomery here.
Rohan, I've got a question for you. Just the presence of now the newly signed Damian Williams, now Tariq Cohen coming back from injury, does that worry you at all about David Montgomery?
So Tariq Cohen coming back, that doesn't worry me because to be honest, I feel like he had a serious injury and I don't know if he's fully healthy even now. So I don't feel like he's gonna play a role in that offense that's gonna hinder David Montgomery for a while. As for Damian Williams, he's definitely somewhat of a worry. But seeing as David Montgomery is only my 3rd running back, I'm willing to take that risk, as well as the fact that Damian Williams hadn't played 1 game last year because he sat out. So I'm willing to trust the guy who's been in the offense for more than a couple of years now over those 2.
After David Montgomery goes off the board, we see Cooper Kupp and Amari Cooper.
Okay, so for me here, Amari Cooper was going to be my pick, but since he's gone now, just looking at the receivers, I don't feel like any of them hold much value to me here at the 4.7. I think Robert Woods is definitely he's going to be a great player this year, top 15 for sure, top 10 upside, but I don't think I want to take him here. So I'm going to go to the running backs. Looking at the running backs here, I don't think this could be considered a reach, but I don't think it's much of a reach at all. I'm going to take Myles Gaskin. Gaskin, he's probably one of the people who benefited the most from what his team did this offseason. They didn't draft a running back. They didn't bring in anyone meaningful to take his way as reps. I think they signed Malcolm Brown, but what has Malcolm Brown done in his career to show us that, other than one productive week 1 performance last year, to show us that he's really a threat? Gaskin, he can catch great. He's a good runner. He's really just a very well-rounded back, 3-down back. I think he's a guy who absolutely going to be top 20, and if everything goes his way, could easily be a top 12 running back this year.
Gaskin really, they don't have much invested in Gaskin. So what makes you think they're actually going to stick with him? They have no.
Well, last
incentive-
year, just the fact that they didn't draft anyone, bring in anyone meaningful, besides if you want to consider Malcolm Brown meaningful, that's already a great sign that it shows that they already trust him. And then if we look at his point totals from last season, end of the year, even in the beginning of the year, he was already great, scoring 20 against San Francisco, 16 against Denver. Then the end of the year, he scored 34 against Las Vegas, 18 against Buffalo. If he can score a consistent 15 points per game next year, which he was doing very often last year when he played, I don't see how he wouldn't be a top 12 to 15 running back.
Are you thinking Gaskin because of his talent or because of his role in the Miami backfield? Because I think there's a bit of a discrepancy there.
I'm taking because of both. I think he's got very good 3-down talent, and I think he's going to have a surefire role, at least 70% of the snaps, and definitely going to be the 3rd-down back in this backfield. Right. So, yeah, bit of both.
All right.
One thing to point out is that with Gaskin, you mentioned Malcolm Brown. Malcolm Brown being a power back might take away some of Gaskin's red zone work. So just something to point out if anyone wants to look into Gaskin.
Yeah, that is true. But at the end of the day, I still think that they'll give Gaskin most of that goal line work. And even if Malcolm Brown does steal a couple of touchdowns, I think Gaskin's receiving role is going to more than make up for that.
Okay. Well, after Myles Gaskin goes, we see Chris Godwin and Kyler Murray go off the board.
All right, so I want to take a 3rd running back here, and I think it's pretty obvious what's going to happen here. Travis Etienne, I'm not drafting in the 4th round. James Robinson was amazing last year, and it's just a new offense. I don't know what Travis Etienne's going to be. So I'm going to take Kareem Hunt here. I think he's one of the only backup running backs in the league that has standalone value, and it's like top-tier standalone value. He catches passes out of the backfield. He can run for touchdowns. I think he's just an all-around great player to have as your 3rd running back.
Actually, so if you look at his numbers near the end of the year, after Nick Chubb came back from injury, he was fine at the beginning of the year, and when Nick Chubb got hurt, he really wasn't all that great. Like there was top question. There were people expecting him to be a top 3 running back. When in reality, he wasn't really that. He was a borderline top 12 at best. He didn't really have that elite kind of upside, and also he didn't really have all that much receiving work. I think that's a bit overhyped at this point. Last year, he had one great receiving game. That was like 6 receptions, 77 yards, and a touchdown against the Ravens. Other than that, he really didn't do much in the receiving game. Like the most receptions he had was like 3 or 4. He did that consistently, but he really was banked on touchdowns last year. I honestly don't see Kareem Hunt repeating. I understand he's in a run-heavy offense. But taking a backup running back in the 4th round, even if it is at the end of the 4th round, I just don't know if I can get behind that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I completely agree with that as well.
All right. Well, I would just like to address the pick. So even though he is a backup running back, it's good to have as many running backs as you can. And at the 4th round, I'm not going to take guys like Etienne and Robinson. And as I said, he works well in that 2nd running back role. So the games where Chubb was out, I'm not expecting Chubb to be out the whole year. So I know that he's what he is. He's a backup running back he's probably one of the best backup running backs in the league. And they obviously don't there's guys in the league like AJ Dillon last year. They didn't commit to giving AJ Dillon the ball, but I feel like the Cleveland offense, they want like Kareem Hunt. They want to have the ball in his hands. They want him scoring touchdowns, or they just have him sitting until Nick Chubb gets tired.
If you watch the Browns games last year, though, you could see that Kareem Hunt didn't get all that much work until the 4th quarter when Nick Chubb was there. He did all the dirty work, and then Kareem Hunt, he was there for like some receiving, for like some 3rd downs, like those type of opportunities. But he didn't really get meaningful playing time until the end of the games usually, and that was when the Browns already had the game locked up. And you look at the playoff games and the games that the Browns had to win, they didn't give him a single touch in the whole first half. And then even at the end of the game, they only gave him he averages 6-7 carries. I don't know if that kind of running back is something that you can pick at the end of the 4th round. That's not enough upside there. The floor is a bit low. And also there's other wide receivers on the board. I just can't get behind that pick.
One
Well,
thing
I
to
mean,
point
the
out
other-
with. Oh, wait, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right.
No, you can go.
Okay, so to support Dant, I know we're kind of hating on this pick, but okay, looking at his options here with the people left, right? You see QBs, but there's so many left he could take one later, right? The receivers were kind of at the mid bum territory, not bum, but we're very mid.
Robert
tier
Woods
here.
is very solid. You can pick
Okay.
Robert Woods.
He
Adam
could take
Thielen
Robert.
is good.
No, he
DJ
could.
Moore
He
is
could.
good.
No,
He could. but
Adam
it's a.
Thielen,
CeeDee
I don't
Lamb.
know
There's a
about
lot of
Adam
options
Thielen.
here.
He could. No. But I mean, like we were saying earlier, like running backs are important, and looking at the rest of the running backs too. Kareem is, in my opinion at least, we see a drop off after Kareem. We just see a
It
bunch of.
seems like a forced pick. That's just my opinion. It seems like he wanted to pick running back no matter what. So he just like stuck to his guns and picked the running back.
It was either Kareem or guys like Adam Thielen, DJ Moore. I feel like DJ
Robert
Moore is
Woods.
very overrated.
Kyle
Robert
Pitts is
Woods
on the board.
I don't
Robert
want to
Woods
take
is
a
on the
tight
board.
end this early. I'd rather have 3 good.
Robert
running
Woods
backs.
isn't a tight end.
No,
no.
he
I
said
said
Kyle
Kyle
Pitts.
Pitts. I
He
said
said
Kyle
Kyle
Pitts. I
Pitts.
said
Oh,
Kyle Pitts.
I
said
didn't hear that. I did.
Right. That's all I've got to say. After Kareem Hunt, okay, buddy. See, Kareem Hunt goes off the board. We see Lamar Jackson putting 3 on the clock.
Right. So here I have the opportunity to pick Travis Etienne, Kyle Pitts, DJ Moore, those type of guys. And Russell Wilson's available as well. I don't believe in taking a running quarterback this early. Excuse me. I don't believe in taking a quarterback this early. Tight end is interesting, actually, because it's Calvin for the receiving core for the Falcons. It's Calvin Ridley and drops off to Olamide Zaccheaus. So that's an interesting thing to look at here. Travis Etienne and James Robinson are not fantasy, and not at least not in the 4th round for me. DJ Moore, don't trust him with Sam Darnold up there. Mark Andrews would be great, but I had him last year, and he really relied on Lamar playing good and Lamar being good in the passing game. So I don't trust that. Adam Thielen again, and not the great pick. So I'm going to take Robert Woods right here with Stafford. Definitely, I think this is a good pick here.
I like that pick.
Me too.
And now going on to the next pick, I'm really tempted to take Kyle Pitts, get the tight end position out of the way, and I don't really like Jamar Chase. I don't like down here, and because I simply don't believe in any of the Bengals receiving threats here, especially they didn't do anything for their O-line. Joe Burrow is supposedly back, but we'll see how he plays through his injury. And I don't really feel that. So I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts here. It's a promising young guy.
All right. Interesting. Are you not worried about him just being a rookie? You know, might not get all that much production early in his rookie year. Are you not worried about that? Or
I'm not really worried about that. I'm just thinking back to, when Darren, not his rookie year necessarily, but Darren Waller, when he first came onto the Raiders, he was given a role. And I feel like Kyle Pitts, the 4th overall pick, if you're picking a tight end that early, you better be starting him.
That was Darren Waller's 2nd year. That's
right. Yeah. 2nd year.
Okay.
So
I think that's a good pick, though. I like Kyle Pitts. He's got so much talent. After Kyle Pitts, you see Jamar Chase go off the board.
All right, so I want to take my 2nd wide receiver here. Guys like DJ Moore and Adam Thielen, I just don't think they're going to be that good this year. Adam Thielen, especially with Justin Jefferson there, I just don't. He was very touchdown dependent last year too. So I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb. With Dak Prescott back, we saw what he was earlier in the year as a rookie, and this year he's just primed for a better season. I think he can be even surpass Amari Cooper as the wide receiver 1 in that offense.
Yep.
I like
Great
that
pick
pick.
there. Me too. After CeeDee Lamb, we see Travis Etienne go off the board. So team 4 going running back heavy here. And then DJ Moore. I mean, Arjun on the clock.
Okay, so for me here, I did want to take ETN because even if my counterparts don't believe in ETN, I think that he's primed to have at least a year where he's at worst a flex. We can get into that later, but so now just looking at who's on the board for me, I think looking at the wide receivers right now, I don't really like any of these guys that much. Looking at the running backs, I don't think any of these guys are worth the pick that I've got here. They don't really
Who are you seeing on the board? Who are you seeing on the
for
board?
running backs, I'm seeing Robinson, Gordon, Fournette, Javonte Williams, just 4 guys who None of their roles are guaranteed. You don't know what those backfields are going to look like for all
Mhm.
4 of them. So
Yep.
not guys that I'd want to take here, especially with myself already having 3 solid running backs, in my opinion. So I think here, the guy I'm going to go with is probably, I guess, Adam Thielen, just to get myself a second receiver. I don't really, to be honest, I'm not huge on Thielen, but just Kenny Golladay is a guy who I think is going to have, at best, a low-end wide receiver 2 season in that Giants offense with the decimated O-line. They didn't do anything to address that, or not much to address that this offseason. Now Daniel Jones throwing in passes, I just don't see how Golladay has a very good year. Tyler
Mhm.
Lockett, very good player, but very inconsistent last year. And now with the Seahawks going more towards a run-oriented offense, I think he's going to take a drastic step back this year. And so then, yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster goes without saying. Ben Roethlisberger is just taking a massive step back. Smith-Schuster only signed a 1-year deal, so I'm not sure how much they even believe in him. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Adam Thielen here. He's been pretty consistent, finishing as a top 12, top 15 receiver the last few years. And the talent in Adam Thielen is absolutely undeniable. We've seen the big plays he can make. So, it's going to go with him here.
I just have a quick question there, John. You said the Giants have a decimated old line. That's why you didn't pick Kenny Golladay. Yet I hate to bring up that you have Saquon Barkley on your team as well. So
Yeah, that is a
anything
good
about
point.
that old line?
Yeah, no, that is a good point. The O-line is definitely a part of why I didn't want to take Golladay, but the biggest thing for me is that he's got Daniel Jones throwing him passes now. With Barkley, like I said, I think when I drafted him, I just saw him as in that elite tier of running backs. I think Barkley's maybe the most talented running back in the entire league, just based on what we saw in his rookie year and his second year in the league.
No, you're wrong.
No, I
You're
think he
wrong.
might be more talented than Christian McCaffrey. Yes,
He is
I will
not more
say it.
talented than Nick Chubb.
Then Nick
He's not more
Chubb.
talented than Derrick Henry or Kareem
All right, this is a
Hunt, to be
conversation for
honest.
another day. Let's just move on.
Yeah, we can address that in
No,
another video.
no.
We can address that in
No.
another video, but
Okay. All right.
just to
so-
keep it short and
all
sweet,
right.
I think
James
Barkley's
Robinson
got.
goes off after Thielen, and then we see Russell
Wow.
Wilson.
Okay.
Okay, so with my next pick, for me right now, looking at the QBs left, I see plenty of options. So I'm gonna pass on that. I've already drafted 3 running backs, so definitely gonna look towards receiver here. Looking at a lot of people don't like Kenny Galladay, but just with Kenny, like he's definitely slept on, but it was undeniable to see what he did in Detroit. And although his QB is a little, not the best right now, or a little doubtful with Danny Jones, he can definitely have a big year still. And comparing him to other options like Tyler Lockett, who's in an offense with DK Metcalf, and Juju, who's in an offense with 2 other great receivers, I feel like Kenny definitely is a step above those guys. So I'm going to take Kenny.
Okay, after Kenny, we see Leonard Fournette go off in the 5th round and Dak Prescott. So looking at the wide receivers on the board, we see people like Tyler Lockett, Juju Smith. But I see one guy that stands above the rest, and I don't know why so many people are sleeping on. That's Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson was a target monster last year, got an unbelievable amount of targets, and he was clearly the number 1 guy in that Pittsburgh offense that threw the ball nearly 700 times. Deontay Johnson, while he does have some issues with drops, it's not that big of an issue. Like AJ Brown had the same amount of drops, or he was close to the amount of drops as Deontay Johnson, but that's not as much of a concern. The reason that Deontay Johnson's drops, that's like a problem that so many people see, is because his drops happen in like big games. In my opinion, Deontay Johnson just gets so many targets, and in a PPR league, that's something you just can't look over. Deontay Johnson, easy 10 targets a game. He might get over 150 targets this year. And if he can bring his touchdowns up too, like he could be a low end wide receiver 1, and that's not out of the question. So that's one easy pick for me, Deontay Johnson. Looking at the quarterbacks available, there's Justin Herbert, who's really a tier above everyone else there. But I think I'm going to wait on quarterbacks for a little bit. The running backs available, there's the 2 Broncos running backs, Gordon and Williams. I'm not really interested in running back right now. We see Mike Davis on the board a little later. I already have 3 solid running backs. I don't think I should go for another one. So I think I'm just going to go for another wide receiver. And I see Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett, while he was super inconsistent last year, at the end of the day, he was the overall. He finished as a wide receiver 1 in PPR leagues. Wide receiver 9, I believe. They might have a run. Actually, looking at my team now, I do have Chris Carson, so I don't know if I want to match him up with Tyler Lockett. So actually, Brandon Ayuk also has plenty of upside in that 49ers offense. With Jimmy Garoppolo there, last year, even when he was hurt, Jimmy Garoppolo was hurt. Brandon Ayuk was phenomenal during a stretch last year, the middle of the season last year. He was putting up wide receiver one numbers as a rookie. And while you could say yes, Deebo Samuel was out, George Kittle was out, Brandon Ayuk showed off how talented he really was. And I feel like if Trey Lance enters for the 49ers, Brandon Ayuk could do even better. We saw a report a couple of days come out that Trey Lance's deep balls would affect Brandon Ayuk positively. So out of all the wide receivers here, for my team, I think Brandon Ayuk is the best. Tyler Lockett obviously is the most talented, but for my team, I don't want to have two Seahawks on my team. So I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk to start off my bench. After Brandon Ayuk, we see Melvin Gordon and Odell come off the board.
That's tough. I was actually going to take Odell, but now to look back, so for me, now I've started to talk about Lockett a little bit. I'm not a fan of Lockett because while he did have an overall good season, fantasy-wise, top 10 PPR, the inconsistency just isn't something that it's just not nothing an owner would want. Like you'd rather obviously lower amounts of points, but every week, of course. But so I don't think I'm gonna look towards Lockett. And after Lockett, you see Juju's available, Devontae Smith, DJ Chark, T. Higgins. I feel like all of these guys are kind of on the same area, but one guy that's seems to fall a little bit in other people's radars is Jerry Jeudy. I'm going to take Jeudy here because I feel like Judy's just bound for a great year. He had a solid rookie season, not the great season, but a solid season playing with I would describe it as terrible QB play. But this year it's just, although the Broncos, the only change they really have is Teddy Bridgewater, and he's equally as bad as the other guys. I feel like another year in the offense, he could take a big step forward. So I'm gonna go with Jeudy.
Okay, that's a bit of an interesting pick there because Jerry Jeudy in the 6th round, that's actually super early. I don't think I've ever seen Jerry Jeudy go that early. And also, you picked Jerry Jeudy over Cortland Sutton. So do you think I understand Jerry Jeudy is one of the most talented wide receivers I've seen. His route running skills are impeccable. But also, Cortland Sutton is on the board. And don't you think Cortland Sutton is actually the wide receiver one in that Broncos offense?
Honestly, looking towards this year, I would say no, because although Cortland Sutton, he had a great year 2 years ago. Last year, of course, he was injured, and he tore his ACL and just tore his MCL, which is just, it's not good. And I mean, while players do have great recoveries, especially NFL players with all the treatment and the recovery they have the ability to do, I'm betting that Jeudy would have a better season just because Jeudy he's not hurt. B, he's a great route runner, and I just think another year in the offense, he'll have a great year.
I like that pick, though. It's a very bold pick. After Jerry Jeudy, we see Tyler Lockett go off the board and Devonta Smith go off the board.
Okay, so for me here, I usually like to wait on my quarterbacks and take a lot of running backs and wide receivers early on. Actually, no, yeah, I'm going to take a running back here. Looking at the running backs, I'm going to take Javonte Williams here. Just because I saw a report actually today that one of the Broncos beat reporters expects Williams to end up leading this backfield in carries. And while Williams has been learning the offense in OTAs and minicamp, Melvin Gordon, actually, I believe he did not show up to OTAs. And I know they're voluntary, but it's just still not a good look when you're a guy who the team wants to have a big role. And I also think that Williams may actually be more talented than Gordon. Last year, we did not see Gordon have a very productive year at all. And Williams, was he drafted in one of second or third round? Second round, he was drafted.
Early second.
Yeah, 35th. I don't think you don't draft a running back that not early, I guess, but very close to the first round, 35th overall. You don't draft a running back there if you don't plan on using him. So I think Williams, at worst, might have low end flex value. But if he's able to take over that backfield, and if something were to happen to Gordon, he'd easily become an RB2. And so I think the upside of Williams is undeniable, and I don't think there's much risk in taking him either.
I think there actually is a bit of risk there because Melvin Gordon's presence, well, it is Melvin Gordon. No one cares about Melvin Gordon. He is he is going to be the goal line back there and also the receiving back there. He's going to be getting all the valuable touches there. I don't think Javonte Williams, he's going to be more like the inside the 20s type of back. So this is, I love Javonte Williams' dynasty outlook. He's going to be phenomenal in future years. But this year specifically, I think they're going to give Melvin Gordon a lot of the more valuable touches, like in the goal line and in the receiving work. So I think there is a bit of risk there. I don't think he goes risk free, especially in the 6th round. That's all.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Gordon absolutely, I think, will be the receiving back in the offense. But I mean, the Broncos did their GM referred to Williams as one of the team's favorite players in the draft, and you did say Gordon's probably going to take a lot of the goal line carries. I think Gordon probably will end up getting more goal line carries than Williams. But I mean, at UNC, Williams was really just known for his ability to get through defenders and use his body to absolutely plow through defenders, gain a lot of yards. I think he averaged 7 yards per game or 7 yards per carry last season at UNC. So I think his goal line work could actually be another benefit to him rather than a detriment to him, with Melvin Gordon taking more away.
Okay, interesting look. After Javonte Williams, you see Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson go off the board, ending the run on tight ends. Top 6 tight ends all off the board now.
All right, so even though I have 3 running backs here, I'm going to go with running back again. It's going to be Mike Davis. He's coming into Atlanta with the backfield's basically all his. They have guys like Ito Smith and Cordero Patterson, who I don't even know if he's a running back or not, but they keep using him as a running back. Mike Davis, he basically has the Todd Gurley role, but doesn't have arthritis, so it could be a huge season for him.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, just another thing I want to say. I think Davis is a great pick. Ito Smith actually was cut too, so it's really like
so was Brian Hill.
Yeah, a bunch of very little known guys who were competing with him. So that backfield is really all his. And he shined last year when McCaffrey went out. So he's definitely got RB2 upside. Not much risk with him either, since that backfield is literally all his.
Yep. We see Juju Smith-Schuster go after Mike Davis, putting Tree on the clock with back-to-back picks.
Yeah, I actually despise this pick. Don't really like
Hey, all your picks, don't you, bro?
No. This one is the worst for sure. Because DJ Chark, he's in offense with Gardner Minshew, can't trust that. And just the rest of these guys like T. Higgins and those names come up, and I just don't like the offense.
Shree. I think you're forgetting that about Trevor Lawrence. Because you mentioned DJ Chark's in offense with Gardner Minshew.
Oh, yeah, my bad. So, oh, damn. All right.
Damn, bro.
That's tough.
A bit rusty, bro.
I got a little rusty.
So
good. Looking at the other guys, I don't really like them. So, yeah, this is not good. Look, there's no running backs that catch my eye. Everybody here is just trash or has competition.
You down to quarterback back, bro? You trying to quarterback?
I might have to take the quarterback here because Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen playing. That's looking pretty good right now. So I'm gonna pick Justin.
Okay.
I'm picking Justin Herbert right here.
Okay.
And now that reports have came in that Trevor Lawrence is indeed on the Jaguars, I'm gonna take DJ Chark.
Okay.
One thing to add on Chark is like you guys said, like Chark was already having he's had like a pretty good career up to now, but with you add Lawrence and then like offseason reports of that have been shown with Urban Meyer working with DJ Chark, making the guy gain some weight because he's a little bit of a twig. So I think I like that pick. I think he's bound for a good year.
To be honest, Urban Meyer actually came out and like belittled DJ Chark, which is like something you never see. You usually see coaches trying to hype their own players up, but when he said that about DJ Chark, I raised my eyebrows. I don't know. That might be something to think about. He might not be the best pick this year.
They're working hard. They're working hard if you belittle him. Good relationship.
Who knows?
Yeah,
good relationship.
It'll show if he can step up to it.
Or it could be droppable by week 3. Who knows at this point? Dant's on the clock after Raheem Mostert goes after DJ Chark.
So seeing Shree take a quarterback, I kind of want to take a quarterback here too. And I see guys like Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow. And Trevor Lawrence, he's like a generational talent, but I just don't know what we're going to see from him in his first year. He's going to have a great career, but I don't know about his first year. Aaron Rodgers, who even knows? Joe Burrow's coming off a pretty bad injury. And guys like Matt Stafford, Deshaun Watson, I mean, he does some pretty weird stuff in his own time. So I'm going to take Tom Brady. he has a great cast around him: Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, maybe three great tight ends, two great running backs. So I think even though he's super old, I think he's gonna have a great season again this year.
I feel like you just forced that pick again.
Yeah, that was a
you
reach.
You didn't
That was
need
a
to
bit of a
pick Tom,
reach.
especially for a quarterback. You need to pick a quarterback that early. In the 7th round, Tom Brady probably could have been available for your 9th round pick. To be
It's
honest,
true.
In support,
if you
though.
really like Tom Brady this year, you think he's gonna put up like another 40 touchdown season, a bunch of yards, then I guess that's a solid pick. But otherwise, that's a bit of a reach, in my opinion.
In his defense, though, looking at the QBs, right? Rodgers is who knows. Lawrence is a rookie. Burrow is coming off surgery. Stafford's in a new offense. Probably
Exactly.
will do good. And
So you just
Watson's,
wait for quarterbacks. Just wait for
yeah, but
Well,
No, but
I don't
I'm-
want to end up with guys like Baker Mayfield. or
exactly,
Kirk
yeah,
Cousins.
because quarterbacks are bound to go now. So he
well,
had to do what he had to do.
No,
actually,
no.
there's only 3 teams haven't picked a quarterback yet. So
Who are the 3 teams?
it's
Team
us
set.
3.
Oh well, yeah. After he took Brady, yeah. But
Oh yeah,
I mean-
well, I don't think any of the other teams would have taken the quarterback. That's just my opinion. But
I agree
with
we'll
that,
move.
yeah.
We move. Jalen Waddle and Chase Edmonds follow up that Tom Brady pick. Bah.
Oh yeah, so for me here, looking at the running backs right now, it's Kenyon Drake, Ronald Jones, James Conner, David Johnson, all guys who I don't think are going to see much work this year. Kenyon Drake's probably going to see some receiving work. He could have some standalone value some weeks, but again, I don't really want to take a guy here who I don't think is going to become the starter in his backfield barring an injury. So I'm actually going to go look at the tight ends here. And looking at the tight ends, I see Fant, Gesicki, Gronk, Irv Smith, Goddard. But below all of them, I see Logan Thomas, and he's a guy who I know he had a phenomenal year last year. I mean, towards the end of the year, he really just came on, and I believe he finished the year or his last 6 games. Yeah, each of his last 6 games finished double digits. 7 of his last 8 he finished in double digits. Really, Logan Thomas just once he found his groove last year, he was just unstoppable. I think he finished the year as a tight end 3 last year in PPR. Yeah. And I mean, now this year with Fitzpatrick, I don't see how Thomas. Maybe he probably won't finish top 3 again, but I think he'll definitely be a TE1 for sure. And it could be said that the additions of Samuel and Adam Humphries could take away from Thomas's targets, but I think that'll be offset by the fact that he's got Fitzpatrick instead of Alex Smith throwing the ball.
okay, so for me here, I have 3 running backs
my
now.
bad. After Logan Thomas goes off the board, we see Noah Fant and Kenyon Drake. Rohan.
So for me now, I have 3 running backs and 3 receivers taken, which means I'm kind of set on those positions. So I'm going to look for QB or tight end. And looking at how the QB situation is unfolding with many of the guys being question marks, I think I'm going to take one now. And I'm going to take Stafford.
Okay. After Matthew Stafford, we see Cortland Sutton, who is someone I really wanted, and Ronald Jones go off the board. That's fine, actually. T. Higgins is still on the board, and I feel like T. Higgins, even though he's on the Bengals, so is Joe Mixon, T. Higgins has a lot of upside. We've seen reports that he's going to be a massive part of what they're trying to do. So, T. Higgins, I like him as an upside pick, especially as my second bench wide receiver. Quarterbacks that are available, we see Rodgers, and then Burrow, Hurts, Tannehill. Everyone else other than Arjun has a quarterback, so I think I might take a look at other positions. See James Conner at running back, David Johnson, Michael Carter. Damian Harris is on the board, and I like Damian Harris this year. He has plenty of upside as a bench running back if he needs to be. He can enter your lineup too if need be. He's going to be like the starting running back on a run-heavy team, which is the Patriots, and they have an elite offensive line. They're going to be going 12 personnel a lot. He's going to be the lead running back. There's reports Sony Michel might not even make the team. I think Damian Harris is a solid pick here in the beginning of the 9th round. So yeah, I'm going to go with Damian Harris. After Damian Harris, we see Chase Claypool and David Johnson go off the board, putting Rohan on the clock.
And so for me here, looking at, I kind of have like the freedom to do like what I want now because with most of the good tight ends gone, and my receiver and my QB situation taken handle. So I'm going to look at receiver and running back, and looking at the running backs, it's not looking great here. So I think I'm going to pass there. So going back to receivers, it looks like they just took Chase Claypool as well. So for me here, then I'm actually going to go to tight ends. I'm going to take a bit of a – actually, no, I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to take Rob Gronkowski here because, yeah, safe pick here.
Personally, I think that's a bit of a reach. Rob Gronkowski wasn't – I mean, he was fine last year, but that was only after O.J. Howard's injury, and O.J. Howard's coming back this year. It's going to be a committee of tight ends, basically, there. So that's really all I've got to say. Is there a reason you like Gronk?
For me, not really. I wouldn't say I like have a love for Gronk or anything. Just looking at the other situations on the board, with the receiver situation, the receivers and the running backs kind of narrowing down. I think it's maybe take a risk on a tight end and see how it works.
Yep. After Gronk, we see Mike Gesicki and Aaron Rodgers go off the board.
Yeah, okay, so for me here, I only have 2 wide receivers picked, so I'm definitely gonna take a receiver, and I'm gonna go with Cooks. I know he's losing Watson, but he's the number 1 receiver in that offense, so I think he's definitely gonna have a good year, and I think he's a good pick here as a wide receiver over just all the other guys.
Yep. And as soon as we see Brandon Cooks go off the board, we see James Conner. So Team 5 stacking the Arizona running backs, and then Tyler Boyd.
All right, so I also only have 2 wide receivers drafted. So I'm going to take Robbie Anderson. Yes, Sam Darnold coming in. They were on the Jets together. He had 130 targets last year, so with limited touchdowns. So I expect more touchdowns and the same amount of targets from him.
I love that
I
pick.
like that pick too.
Yeah, there's not many times you ever see a wide receiver getting 130 plus targets falling to the end of the 8th round. It's nearly unheard of. So yeah, I love that pick. After Robbie Anderson, we see Laviska Shenault go off the board.
So here I still only have 2 running backs, just keeping an eye on the running back board there. But here I'm looking at the wide receivers right now. I see Deebo Samuel, who I like. I know he's coming off an injury season, but we got to remember the year before last year he was going off, and he was undoubtedly the number 1 wide receiver in that offense. Although Kelsey took some targets and Ayuk is going to take some targets this year, you can count on Deebo Samuel returning, and he's going to be the big play guy for the 49ers this year, especially with Jimmy G back and Trey Lance maybe starting.
Yep, I like that pick. Personally, though, I think Ayuk's going to be the big playback, but that's.
And here, just gonna pick a running back here. Gonna go Zach Moss. He's edged past Singletary this season, and hopefully, as we see, the Bills kind of balance their running and passing. Josh Allen, finding his groove. He found his groove pretty well last season, and they're gonna try to work the end zone rushing a bit more, because last year Josh Allen was doing pretty much most of the end zone rushing. I don't know if they want him, their young guy, doing that, putting his body on the line to the end zone. So I can count on Zach Moss being the goal line running back, and he has a lot of upside in my opinion.
After Zach Moss, we see Corey Davis go off the board.
All right, I'm going to take another wide receiver here, and this late, I just absolutely love this guy, and that's Antonio Brown. I have Tom Brady on my team. I mean, Antonio Brown, he saw the same amount of targets almost as Mike Evans and Chris Godwin towards the end of that season, and I'm getting him like 6 rounds later, so I think he's a great pick this late in the draft.
After Antonio Brown, we see Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence.
So for me here, I'm looking at the running backs again because you can never have enough running backs in fantasy football. So I'm gonna go Michael Carter. He's a great receiver. He's a great receiver at UNC. He's a bit small, so he probably won't score a lot of touchdowns. But again, that Jets backfield, I think Tevin Coleman right now is probably the lead back. But by the end of training camp, it would not surprise me at all if Carter's taking the lead job. He's definitely going to get receiving work regardless. So I'm going to take him here.
Okay. After Michael Carter, we see Marcus Brown and Will Fuller.
So for me here, having taken tight end QB my last 2 picks, I'm gonna go back to my receiver and running back look. And with the receivers, I feel like the gap is really narrow between the guys left. So I'm gonna try to secure a running back before they're all gone. And right here, I'm gonna take Trey Sermon, because even though he's a rookie, I feel like he can easily make an impact with how good he was in college, as well as the fact that he's behind Raheem Mostert, who's almost always injured. And then the other guy is Wayne Gallman, and he's not much of a threat. So, yeah, I'm going to take Trey Sermon here.
All right. Yes. All right. So first off, just looking at the running backs on the board, I think there's a complete tier drop off now. Now we're just looking at handcuffs. Not a lot of guys that can take the number 1 overall role. But the guy I was excited to get was Dallas Goedert. I think he could easily be the number 7 tight end this year. He is with Zach Ertz gone, he's going to be phenomenal. Zach Ertz isn't officially gone yet, but he's going to be gone by the time the season starts. So I'm going to pick Dallas Goedert with one of these picks. I think he's going to be great. And then for wide receivers, I see Curtis Samuel on the board. And now I know I already have Terry McLaurin, but I feel like Curtis Samuel has a ton of upside as a flyer. We're in that stage of the draft. This is the 10th round. Curtis Samuel, nothing could harm. No, there's no harm with taking guy with Curtis Samuel. So I'm going to pick him.
I like Curtis. Oh yeah, sorry. I just gonna say I like Curtis Samuel. His involvement in the rushing game last season too. He had those jet sweep runs, long jet sweep runs, and so if Washington offense can utilize that, I think he has a great upside.
Yep, got a ton of touches last year.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
So though Zach Ertz isn't officially gone, there's a small chance, say, that he stays. Do you still feel the same way about Goddard if he's on the team?
Yeah. Both Ertz and Goddard were top 10 tight ends just 2 years ago, and that was with Zach Ertz getting the majority of the work. Dallas Goedert is just such a great talent, and I think there's no one. He's going to be the top receiving guy. Him and Devonta Smith are going to be neck and neck for getting the same amount of targets. So I like him a lot this year. After Curtis Samuel, we see Deshaun Watson, who's a bit in hot water there, and Rashad Bateman.
Not to go off topic, guys, but I would just like to bring up Deshaun Watson. So, guys, how are we feeling about his situation? Who here thinks that he's going to play this year?
There's really nothing we have no information to go off of. Like, we can't really make a decision about
Deshaun's going to play this year. He's going to play for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Bold take.
No.
Well,
okay.
To get back to the draft, so for me here, I'm going to take a bit of what some may call a reach, but a player who I have always believed in Tyler Higbee. To explain that, Higbee, I had Higbee last year. He didn't have a great season, but we have to remember he was playing with Jared Goff, who's terrible. And now we bring in Matt Stafford into a great offense run by Sean McVay. I think Higbee's just bound to have a good season because he's so talented.
Yep.
But yeah.
After Higbee, we see Tannehill and Hurts go off the board. So that tier of quarterbacks completely gone now. Now we're looking at flyers. Arjun's on the clock.
Yeah, it's a tough day for me because without a quarterback, I was going to take Hurts. I was going to take one of those two, Hurts, Tannehill, but now that they're gone back to back, I think I'm just going to keep on waiting.
There's no one.
I have no reason to take a quarterback here. Yeah, there's no one
here.
So, damn, that kind of messes up my plan because I did not expect both to be gone. But so,
Michael Carter.
I may as well. Huh?
Yeah, you took Michael Carter, buddy. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I looked. It was very close to being worth it because I was going to get Hurts or Tannehill in the 10th round.
But it
wasn't. Who is Michael Carter?
I didn't know Michael Carter was that
bro.
Carter. Okay. Here, I'm gonna go with Darnell Mooney. I think he's an excellent sleeper. He's the number 2 receiver in what should be an improved Bears offense, and once Justin Fields inevitably takes over, so yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go with Mooney.
Okay. We see Pittman and Gallup follow.
At this point, all the running backs are kind of really just not worth the pick. I still don't have a tight end, but I don't like any of these guys here either. So I'm probably going to go wide receiver here again, and I'm going to take Mike Williams. I think this year is probably every year they say he's going to be like, it's a consensus thing that he's going to break out, but I think this is his year. Hunter Henry's gone, Justin Herbert's second year. I think it's now or never for Mike Williams.
Let's go. After Mike Williams, see Robert Tonyan.
I really like the Mike Williams pick. I just wanted to add he's going to take a definite step up in the offense. Here, it's either between A.J. Dillon, handcuff for Aaron Jones, or Nyheim Hines. I just pretty much picking the handcuff here. I'm going to go with A.J. Dillon here.
Mm-hmm.
And now on to probably going to pick a wide receiver here again. Going to go with Devontae Parker. You're still a wide receiver 1 in Miami. So.
They have Will Fuller now.
Yeah, I don't know. And they have
Jalen Waddle.
Will Fuller's on Roy's. Jalen Waddle's a rookie.
Oh yeah, he is.
Come
gonna
on,
look like him.
no. We can't.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, Will Fuller's
Williams
clearly
out
the wide
week
receiver
1,
there.
so
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's 11th round. Maybe he turns into something like he did 2 years ago.
yeah,
Justin
risk free.
Fields goes next.
I'm gonna go running back here. I'm gonna take Devin Singletary. He hasn't proved anything, but
He's disgusting.
I mean,
He's so bad.
it's
He's
just
terrible. Stop
Keeping
talking.
it honest.
Hunter Henry, Kenneth Gainwell. Arjun's on the clock.
Okay, me here. I'm gonna go Fitzpatrick.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna take another quarterback later on, just so I do have that insurance. But I mean, when Fitzpatrick plays, he plays well. So yeah.
Okay, buddy. Rondell Moore and Naheem Hines follow. That is an amazing pick.
Yeah, and so for me here, I'm gonna just take a boomer bust player, T.Y. Hilton, because he could do
No.
well, could do bad at this point.
He's a bust.
I'm willing to take
He's
the
a
risk.
bust. He's 42
Boomer
years
Every
old.
bust.
year, bro.
It's
He's
only
43 years
bust,
old.
bro.
Yeah.
It's only bust.
Unless he's playing the Texans, he's busting. All right, Baker Mayfield and Tony Pollard go off the board. I like Tony Pollard. Looking at wide receivers, I'm gonna go with Elijah Moore. A lot of hype coming out of camp about him. Maybe he turns into something. He is a rookie. Might be the wide receiver one there. Other wide receivers, no one. Todd Gurley, no. Gus Edwards is there. Gus Edwards might be good this year. If J.K. Dobbins was ever to get hurt, he could have some good upside. Also, he has a role in that backfield. Might get some goal line work. Who knows? Gus Edwards might become something. Gus Edwards is the pick. After Gus Edwards, we see Jonnu Smith and Todd Gurley, who is teamless, go off the board. Todd Gurley, bro.
So for me here, I think I'm gonna take Latavius Murray here, another handcuff coming off the board because everyone else is terrible. So
Probably
Yeah,
the
I
best
just want to
hand-
say real quick, Murray's a great pick.
Yeah, I was
Maybe
gonna say
second best handcuff in all of fantasy
I
behind.
think he's
Kareem
the
Hunt.
best handcuff in fantasy, to be
he
quite
is.
frank.
He's the
Facts.
best.
Well,
I
are you
mean, who would be
considering
better than
Kareem
him?
Hunt?
Who do
Are
we
you
think?
are you
Oh,
considering
Technically,
Kareem Hunt to be a
I guess,
handcuff?
I guess, but I don't really consider Kareem Hunt a handcuff.
I mean, let's say
He's picking in
um,
the 4th round. He's not a handcuff. Come on.
exactly, and let's say for Murray, like let's say Kamara gets hurt, and for Hunt, let's say Chubb gets hurt. Who would you rather have, Kareem
Murray,
or
bro. Murray is like a
Yeah,
top
exactly.
3
Yeah, I'd
running
rather
back
have Murray
with
too.
Kamara
I'd
right
rather have
now.
Murray. Murray's an RB1 when Kamara's
I'd have to
Is
say
he
I'd rather have
RB1?
Kareem.
RB3.
Okay.
Because we saw what Kareem did when Nick was out. He was not producing as much as Murray was when
Murray
Kamara
is
was out.
always better when Kamara's out compared to what we saw
He's
from
insane.
Kareem.
He's been insane when Kamara's out. It's
Yep.
unbelievable. After Latavius Murray, we see Zach Ertz and Evan Ingram. A couple of tight ends go off the board.
So for me here, I'm gonna go with Alexander Madison.
Okay.
When I know with one game that Cook was out last year, Madison did not really play very well, but I just believe Madison has a lot of talent, and if Cook were to go down again, I think Madison would be a top 10 running back.
Yeah. And in week 17, Dalvin Cook missed 2, and Alexander Madison was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, and he had a great game. Yeah, he was phenomenal that game.
He was great. All right, after Alexander Madison, we see Mecole and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Dant was targeting Amon-Ra right there.
Yeah, I really wanted Amon-Ra, but I also don't have a tight end, so I'm gonna take Adam Troutman.
Okay.
With they only have
Damn.
Traquan Smith and
Damn.
Michael Thomas there, so
Alvin Kamara, too. Alvin Kamara.
Yeah,
too.
and Kamara,
yeah.
Passes.
And the
Jamal
fill-in
Williams,
tight end
fourth
Taysom
One
Hill.
Treadwell, bro.
Maybe. We'll see. It's
All right,
just
so
like
here-
upside at this point. We
yeah.
see Jamal Williams follow Adam Troutman.
I'm gonna just take Henry Ruggs here. He's a
Okay.
big play guy. It's a decent pick.
Yep.
Good upside pick.
Yep. Might turn
And
into something.
here's between J.D. McKissick is just a great player, exceptional for PPR. Might be better than Gibson. You never know. Might take out the starting role.
That's
No,
a bit
I'm-
extreme.
I'm
Wrong
playing.
with you, bro.
Just what, but yeah, I'm not taking JD McKissick. I will take Philip Lindsay when David Johnson goes down around week 4, week 5.
Yeah.
Philip Lindsay is gonna take over. He's gonna be that
Okay,
James White
okay.
kind of guy.
I like that. I like
In
that.
support of DJ though.
No.
He had a
No,
fairly
no
healthy
support.
season.
Well, we don't
No
need
support to
this.
this.
We
All right,
don't
no,
need
no,
to
no.
do
You can
this.
go. You can go.
Support of DJ, bro.
What were you saying, Rohan?
support him then.
No, I was saying in support of him. He had a pretty healthy season last year, so he could be
He was on IR, bro.
DJ.
Yeah.
With the concussion.
No, but okay. Of course he did get hurt, but like for the most part, I would say he had a healthy season.
And he was bad when he was healthy too. So there we are. Russell.
I mean,
What? When he had
moving on.
11 targets in a game, good for him, bro. Good for him. Never happened.
yeah,
again.
we'll come
Damn.
back to this. Hold on.
Russell
We'll come back to this.
Okay, Russell Gage goes after Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, forced to make an ugly pick. I'm going Gerald Everett to back up.
Okay, I like that. I like that pick. He might have some solid upside there, and you need another tight end.
Yeah, exactly.
After Everett, we see McKissick go off the board, and Austin Hooper as well.
Yeah, for me here, I'm gonna go with the receiver. I'm gonna go with Cole Beasley. He's the number. I know he actually might not play the full season, to be honest with you, because he's not getting vaccinated. But no, but
Weirdo.
Cole Beasley, he had a great year last year, and I think he's gonna have an even better year this year. So yeah.
Okay, I like that. Tariq Cohen and Nelson Aguilar, wide receiver one for the Patriots. Follow.
So before I pick, just to relate back to David Johnson, guys, just because he's a good
Oh
player.
my God.
No, he's
To look
not.
back,
He's 30
he
years old.
ended last year. His last 3 weeks were
Let's take a look.
all in the 20s, and he missed 4 games and still finished as the overall RB21 in PPR. So that just tells you
Not
if this
good,
guy's playing
bro.
these
Everyone
games,
was hurt, and he was still not even an RB2.
guys, we just have to
Every
put some faith in
single
DJ,
RB was
especially
hurt.
with that
Very
horrid offensive line of his. But yeah, moving on past DJ.
No, you're wrong.
We're at the
but-
area where we're looking at handcuffs. I think I'm just going to take a QB to hold in Trey Lance.
Mhm. Okay, I like that. If he does ever
Good pick.
get on the field, he has a ton of upside. Justin Tucker goes in the 13th round. Actually, that's not that bad because, you know, he's 2 picks away from the 14th round. I don't really mind that pick. Looking at running backs, there's Chuba Hubbard, who's handcuffed. Darrell Henderson, who's a handcuff.
Hendy could take over the starting role.
Paris Campbell, that's my boy, bro.
Ah.
Paris Campbell's a beast. 6 for 70 week 1. He might take over the spot this year. It's definitely not going to be T.Y. Hilton, that's for sure. Paris Campbell season all day long. Let's go Paris Campbell. And now my final 2 picks, obviously, reserved for a kicker and a defense. Looking at kicker, Shree knows.
Don't do it. Just don't do it.
There's a guy.
Oh,
Guys, I don't think Young
Koo.
Goku has a high upside this
Young Wei,
season.
it's
There's no way he can
Young Wei.
reproduce
Yeah,
what he
we-
did
we
last
pronounced
year.
his name right,
Probably
too.
just
Young
like
Wei.
a team, a
Young
self-destructive
Wei
pick,
Koo, welcome
really.
to the squad, know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Young Wei Koo.
It's
Oh,
arguably
wait.
the best
Bro,
fantasy
he-
player in the draft you can possibly take. He's put up RB1
Terrence
numbers
Marshall.
last season. I mean, you have a kicker putting up 21 in PPR. It's just an unbelievable guy off the field, on the field. It's a
Hey,
great
that's
dude.
it.
No, I don't recommend picking a kicker in the 14th round when there's 16 rounds in the draft. Right?
If
I
it's
don't
Young
recommend
Hoku,
that.
I recommend it.
However, if someone in your league really wants Young Wei Koo, you're picking Young Wei Koo. All right, that's all I've got to say. Terrence Marshall and Tevin Coleman after Young Wei goes up the board.
and again for me here, I'm not going to take a kicker this early because I don't care about kickers.
Yeah, for sure. That's
So
fine.
to hold on, I'm going to take another running back just in case of injury with Chuba Hubbard.
Okay,
Uh,
I like that.
Okay, for me here, like I said, picking Fitzpatrick. I don't even know if he's going to start the entire year. So I'm going to go Matt Ryan here as just an
Ooh.
insurance policy to Fitzpatrick. He's the best quarterback on the board.
Neither of them
and,
have upside, bro. You should have picked someone like
yeah, no.
Cam, I think.
I mean, I should have probably taken a quarterback earlier
Jameis
in
Winston,
hindsight.
bro. Jameis Winston got some upside for real.
I don't know. I mean, Matt Ryan's he's finished as QB 2 or 1 before, and I mean he's locked into his
When
role
he has-
there. He's gonna throw the ball a lot. So
But that's when he doesn't have Julio, he's not been the best. But I guess he has an off season of playing without Julio. You know,
Yeah,
whatever.
and-
It's a backup quarterback. Who are we?
yeah, exactly.
Jalen Rager and Christian Kirk go after Matt Ryan.
All right, I'm gonna take Jacoby Myers.
Okay, I like that. N'Keal Harry requests a trade. Darrell Henderson
Yeah.
goes after him. Shree's on the clock.
yeah, all my guys I was gonna pick this round are gone. Really just nobody here. The only considering picking Tim Tebow, but that's just stupid. Could take Salvon. There's really nobody here. Actually, I'm gonna go with Rashard Penny, in case he makes a step back, bounce back. We'll see.
Mhm. Like that.
Oh, and here I'm gonna go with the man Rodrigo Blankenship.
Okay.
Solid pick.
You play
Hot
Legos
rod.
with him, bro?
After, yeah, we're starting to see some kickers go off the board. If you're picking a kicker, just pick your kicker. Get on with it. defense. Jason Sanders. Arjun.
I'm gonna take Jason Myers. Gonna be in high
Okay.
offense, so yeah.
High upside kicker. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. You know how it is.
Le'Veon
Me
Bell.
here.
They
No
already
need
took
for-
Butker, so
Me here, no need for explanation. Just gonna take Bucks defense.
Okay. And it has now come. I have now noticed that I still don't have a quarterback, so I have a bit of a predicament. I picked a kicker.
wait, you don't have a quarterback?
What?
He also doesn't have a defense. Actually, no,
You
he
know
has
what?
the 2 picks here.
I'm not picking a defense, bro. Cam Newton, welcome to the squad. He has some upside as a quarterback, if as long as Mac Jones doesn't take the job, which I don't think he will.
It's atrocious.
I think it is pretty bad. But Cam Newton was pretty solid last year. He had
Yeah,
rushing
okay.
Oh, was he?
Okay.
Yeah, he was pretty solid.
I don't know about that one.
That's fine. All right, and I'm also gonna pick
Take
Jameis
Tua.
Winston.
Take Tua.
Nah, fact Tua. Tua's disgusting. I'm taking Jameis Winston.
Yeah, Factua.
Jameis Winston.
No,
No
defense.
defense.
I'll pick one off a kick. I'll pick one off the waivers. I don't care.
Drop Youngway.
No, I'll drop bench player, bro.
And for me, I'm gonna take Suck up here. Again, no need for explanation. Need the kicker. Good offense.
Good kicker. Know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna take the ski. Never mind that. I'm gonna take the football team defense.
And
Wow, they took the Jets defense. Nice CP.
to end, our draft is basically over now. So let's start going over.
Pick a
people's teams.
defense, man.
I'm going no
Big
defense.
defense.
We'll start.
Big
We'll start
defense.
On
with
that,
defense.
no. Traquan
Start with
Smith is going
Arjun's
to be
team.
insane this year. Remember the name.
Okay.
Starting with me.
We'll start with Arjun's team. So let's start going over Arjun's team right now. So which picks did you like and which picks were you a bit iffy about?
The pick
What
that
kind of
obviously my quarterback spot is not a good spot, but
Yeah.
I mean that's okay. I mean a lot of quarterbacks can give you good production. The pick that I love the most, I think, is where I got Antonio Gibson at the 2.7. I think he's, again, I said it earlier, he's going to just be phenomenal this year. Top 5 upside, and yeah, I think he's definitely my favorite pick. And just beyond my quarterback spot, I don't see many weaknesses on
Your
my
wide
team.
receivers is a weakness.
I don't know,
Okay.
because I honestly disagree with that, because Thomas, I think he's definitely going to be a wide receiver 1. He was the wide receiver 1, as we know, 2 years ago. And
2 years
Adam
ago,
Thielen.
though.
What do you see in
but,
Thielen?
Huh?
What do you see in Thielen that nobody else
Thielen,
sees?
I see consistency in Thielen. I mean,
You don't see
last-
touchdown dependency?
Consistently at.
I mean, even if he is touchdown dependent, he consistently gets the touchdowns. We've seen that over the past few years with him. So, again, he's finished the last 3-4 years, each of them as the top 12 to 15 receiver. So, yeah, that's
So
why
Jones' starting
I think he's a good player.
John's starting lineup consists of Ryan Fitzpatrick, Saquon Barkley, Antonio Gibson. It's a great pick right there. Michael Thomas, Adam Thielen, Logan Thomas, Myles Gaskin. Let's go over Shree's team next. So Shree, let's just name the players on your team and which picks you liked the most and maybe you didn't like.
Obviously love CMC. I like Keenan Allen too. This is
Yep.
my guy.
That's a great pick.
Somebody I don't like.
Your flex
Damn.
is really bad.
DJ Chark is not good, but I feel like I got enough guys on my bench that could take a step
Like
up.
who?
Like,
Uh,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Zach Moss could be a breakout
No,
player
he
if they decide to
couldn't.
run the ball.
No,
Debo
no.
Samuel's coming back.
Debo
Dillon's
Debo
taking up that
Samuel,
role.
Debo could be nice.
Debo could be, but other than that, I really don't see anyone on your bench. who could take
Devontae
over
Parker
that
was a
flex.
horrible pick. I don't know
Alright,
why
alright,
you
alright.
picked Devontae.
All right, my flex is bad. Oh no,
You
my
have a great-
quarterback's still Justin Herbert.
Quarterback, your running backs are elite. Your wide receivers are phenomenal. Your tight end, it's not bad, but your bench has really suffered. It took a hit. Your bench
is
really
Yeah.
took a hit. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Let's go
Me
over
neither.
my team. The obvious weakness. I forgot to pick a quarterback. All right, let's not talk about that. Actually, let's talk about it. I forgot. Okay, I picked a kicker over a quarterback. That's my fault. I was in the moment. I
You
had
had
to
it
pick
coming.
Youngwood.
You had
I
it
had to
coming.
pick Youngwood.
Yeah. You told me Tom Brady was a reach. I could get quarterbacks, and you forgot to take a
Well,
quarterback.
he was a reach in the 7th round. He was a reach.
No, I mean,
I'm probably gonna.
John
stream
didn't get a
quarterback.
quarterback either.
I'll
dude,
stream
I got a quarterback.
Yeah, but you don't need to pick.
Okay.
You don't need to
Fitzmagic.
pick Ryan Fitzpatrick in the 11th round. Let's be real. but other than that, I have a good couple of running backs, Eckler and Mixon. Then I have McLaurin and Deontay, a solid set of wide receivers. I love them a lot. Dallas Goedert, I feel like he's fallen a lot in drafts, and I have no idea why. He's phenomenal. Ton of talent. There's reports that the Eagles want to lock him up on a long-term extension. Chris Carson is a phenomenal flex. I'd say he's probably one of the best flexes
I like
in
that,
the league.
Chris Carson.
And my bench,
Yeah.
I think my bench is just great. Ayuk,
Yeah, you do have a good bench.
Harris, Samuel, lots of
Yeah.
upside on that bench. The quarterback is the clear hole, but they'll stream quarterbacks. It's a viable strategy, streaming quarterbacks.
No, again, yeah. A lot of quarterbacks can give you 15, 20 points a game. So
Mhm.
I think it's honestly more important. I mean, obviously, you don't want to wait till the last round like you did to get your quarterbacks, but
Yeah,
it's a lot more
yeah.
important to have that bench depth than maybe having an elite quarterback.
Yep.
I agree with you about the quarterbacks giving you 10, 15, but look, the 1 week your quarterback gives you 5, it's very hard to win off of that. Like
Yeah.
having a
I
good
agree.
quarterback is good, but
Very
like
true.
that 1 week screws you over.
Hey,
Very true.
if this was a real league, though, I'd have all the trade assets, and I always be dealing in fantasy. I have all of these bench assets. I'd get a move, bro. I'd get a move done. All right, let's go over Don's
Let's go to
team
Rohan's
next.
team.
I'm
Don's
gonna
team.
go over. I'll go over Rohan's team, and then we'll end it
Yeah.
with Don's.
Rohan, you comment on your team first, and then I've got a lot to say.
Okay.
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 Alright.
Okay. So to comment on my team, I'm liking my running backs.
Matthew
I think
Stafford was a reach.
he may have been reached, but I think it's still a solid QB. Just in regards to my team. Going down, I feel like my receivers might be a little, disliked by people, but to defend Julio, I feel like Julio has the same potential to be great again this year. No matter where he is, he's just that talented of a player, especially. And I feel like the Titans' offense is so good, and while they have so many weapons, the offense is bound to do good, and which will definitely, follow on to Julio. Kenny Galladay, I think, is going to have a better season than people realize. I think Danny Jones is going to take steps forward. Gronk, Higbee, I like that. I really do like that 2 tight end thing where I can just plug in and out. And I have more I have faith in both of those guys with just Gronk having another year to play alongside and the Buccaneers offense coming off retirement, and as well as Higbee getting to play with Stafford now. And I think David Montgomery is a solid flex.
Yeah, I like your
Yeah,
trio
David
of running
Montgomery's
backs.
Yeah.
So, John, what do you
Yeah.
have to say?
Yeah, like I said, beyond your running backs, I don't see a single spot on this team that I could call like a good spot, to be completely honest with you. Matthew Stafford was a huge reach, like Nav was saying. Gronk, I mean, come on now, we're taking Gronk over Dallas Goedert, and it's very questionable to me.
Yeah. I don't know why you
Yeah.
did that. I have no
I
clue why you
mean,
did
Gronk's role already isn't guaranteed with OJ Howard coming back, and already even with when he was on his own, he was very inconsistent. Julio, like you were saying, Julio, the talent's obviously undeniable, but as he gets older now and moving to the Titans offense with AJ Brown as his competition, and I think maybe other than the Browns, the most run-heavy offense in the league, I don't see how he wouldn't take a pretty good step back into the
To
wide
defend
receiver
that,
too.
to defend that on Julio. Okay, so we're talking about run heavy offense. Well, their offensive coordinator just left to Atlanta, which means that while they'll probably be run heavy, it's not going to be the same pound the ball stuff we've been seeing. And you have a generational talent in Julio. I feel like people are forgetting this guy is like considered like a top 5 to top 3 receiver of all time, and he's not even that old. And so
I mean, he's
pretty
32
old.
years old. He's pretty
old.
I mean, yeah, but you see, like we're talking about the greats here, right? And we're talking about greats, and with maybe Larry Fitzgerald, Jerry Rice. These guys are playing till like
He
they're
could definitely
38.
be great. They have a lot.
He's young compared to those guys. He's got years.
He's not
left
young. He's not young, but he's got upside for sure.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
can still.
I mean-
I wouldn't call him old by any means.
He's old.
I see Julio's ceiling maybe to be the 10th best receiver in fantasy, and
I
his floor to be the 20th
completely
best.
disagree. I completely
Okay.
disagree.
He
Alright.
could be top 5.
Yeah, he
I
could
don't- him and
easily
AJ
be
could
top 5.
both-
He could
He
easily
one
be
last-
top
Him
5.
and AJ both being top 5. So what you think? Derrick
No,
Henry's just gonna
him,
disappear?
Either one.
What
One of
makes
them-
AJ Brown? I want to know, why is AJ Brown? So we're just like people like
All right.
the
Well,
narrative
AJ Brown
of
is definitely the
so
We'll
one.
much
talk
better.
about
AJ Brown
Julio
is the
versus
one.
AJ. We'll talk about Julio.
He had
versus
no
AJ
needs.
later.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We can
Okay.
address Julio versus AJ in a different video.
Also, I think Jerry Jeudy was a reach in the 6th round, but
Agreed.
I digress.
While
Let's
it
go
was
over
a
Don's
reach,
team to end it. 6th
Yeah.
round over Cortland Sutton, Robbie Anderson, even. Like, there's a lot of guys there. All right, Don's team. Go over it, bro.
All All right, I have Tom Brady at quarterback, the duo of Derrick Henry, Najee Harris. My two wide receivers are A.J. Brown, C.D. Lamb. My tight end is the obvious hole. I have Adam Troutman.
And your
At
flex.
flex,
Your flex is it's a hole as
I
well.
can switch flex Mike Davis, Kareem Hunt, either or. Even
And
Robbie
Robbie
Anderson.
Anderson. Robbie Anderson's
Yeah.
phenomenal. I love that pick.
My bench is Mike Davis, Robbie Anderson, Antonio Brown, Mike Williams, Devin Singletary, Gerald Everett, Jacoby Myers, and Traquan Smith.
Love the wide receivers on your bench. All three of them are great.
Yeah. Well, the picks I like the most is Antonio Brown. I think he's one of the best late round picks in all of drafts. Like Antonio Brown in the ninth round. If you have an early ninth round pick and you see Antonio Brown, I think you should. It's an automatic pick. Obviously Derrick Henry, Najee. That's a great duo. AJ Brown, even with as we were talking about Julio Jones, I think he's still the number one in that offense. And CD could potentially be the number one. I mean, Michael Gallup has kind of become a nobody now. So yeah.
Amari Cooper.
Well, guys,
I think
he's
he's better than Amari Cooper.
That's a wrap on Imagi Fantasy Football. Video number 1. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day and goodbye.
Bye.